and welcome back. This is Solar Factory. This is episode 29. I have completed 2 towers. We have got on the left hand side here, we have got an AL limiter tower running along nicely. So we've got iron ore coming into these two. I've got them running at 125%, but also have one of these thermos loops in there, so it's actually double the output, which is required because we've got 3 of these running at 250%, and that's been fed in by a quickfire, and we're making 7.5 each machine for a total of 15, which is double what I was making before. They're going into storage into these 6 containers, and also going across into something. What are they getting moved into? Computers, supercomputers, that's right. So they're going down there, and it goes into here, and a couple of levels. There we go, got one more. One more again. Comes out of that. Now that's going to be as a smart splitter, which will have overflow to the left, which will go to the storage, central storage when we get around to doing that bit, whenever we do it. The rest of it comes up here, flies along there, and goes all the way down there to where the supercomputers is made. That's that one done. And then we've got quickfire. Just plug my... where do I come back up? Up there. So come up here. And then we'll come back up. Next door we've got quickfire. We've got 2 levels of quickfire production. One on the bottom is ingots, then 2 lots of, or completely 10 machines total. Still haven't quite sorted out the backlog happening here. With this one, not really sure what's happening there. It doesn't make a real lot of sense. I've got Mark 6 belts where I need them, so I'm not really sure why it's clogging up. But anyway, it's not a big issue per se. So we have all of it coming into here. So it comes out of there from both levels. Comes into here, quickfire to the left, overflow to the right. It comes up to here, up through there, quickfire straight through, overflow to the left, which will go into the sink. This has now got everything from the other production tower, so this is completely moved across now. And then that run goes down through there, down there, and then goes off to a couple of different places. AL limiters next door is one. And if you come back into here, you can see it goes down all the way down to the bottom. Goes down to there. Goes to AL limiters back there, and this goes down this main straight to other production facilities which I've actually forgotten what they are. So that's cool. And that's that tower. So obviously I've got to put the walls up and all that kind of bits and pieces, but that's for later. What I now have is the cable tower, which is this one here. So this is all copper ore coming in here, going into 12 smelters, 6 on 6x3, 6x2, sorry, and each one's running at just 100%. I think that's what it should be running at. Let's double check that. I think they should be running at that speed. We'll double check that, but that's cool. And then each of these sets of 3, so there's 4 sets of 3, they will feed a individual floor of constructors making wire from that copper ingots, and then that will feed into, I think, another 2 floors of, I think, either 6 or 8, I'm not too sure, of constructors that then actually make the cable from that. So you can see I've got, so it's going to go out like this, so this will go out to that corner, that corner, that corner, and go up the various levels. This is the first one. So I'm just going to build each of these levels first. I have gone and used the blueprint designer. So I want, I'm going to go 6 with a gap. So it comes in the bottom there. So you can see it just comes in. Just get it where I want it, which is basically there, I think. Yep. And now we've got that in. And there is the first row, or first floor. So then we would build up another 1, 2, 3. I've also used the blueprint designer to build the production floor as well. It's a little bit finicky. Ah, don't have enough concrete. Okay. Luckily, I know where to get some from. Just grab that lot. So that's actually, that concrete is actually not being used at the moment, so it doesn't actually matter if I take any. So we put the blueprint designer and we go blueprints, and I've got production 6x6 production floor. It's a little bit finicky. It's not as useful as I thought it would be. One of the weird things is you can use the nudge thing. So if I'm in this sort of area and I press H, I'm now setting my buildable object is now sort of set in space sort of thing. I can rotate around it and go up and down. But pressing the left and the cursor keys, I can go move it in any direction. What I can't do is go up and down, as far as I can tell. Shift doesn't do anything. Alt, Control, nothing like that does anything. So it's a little bit finicky in that perspective, but it's doing the job, I guess. So plonk that down. That's now built that entire floor. And now we're going to go to here. I'm going to put another in there, and we'll have to put one in there. And then we'll have to build another level. So that we can build the next production floor. Just move up. That. And that is now, so that will now go up to here, up to here, and I think I'll go that way with it. And again, we'll build. Let's go that the wrong way. Damn it. Over the sun one. So the gap is just bugger. It's just a walkable gap between each of the constructors. Nothing around. Press H. Yep, over that. So now the next one will be in here. And we'll go, yeah, okay. So we want middle, middle. Now, so now I need to build. Alright, I'm going to get these floors built. I'll do the floors of the constructors making the cable from the wire, and I'll come back and we'll start feeding it we'll turn it all on and we'll see how see if I've broken anything as I've tried to make it. Right, I'm ready to flip the switch, so let's look at what we've got here. So there's a whole bunch of prep work I've done, and it's just a case of see if it works. So the very bottom floor we have 12 smelters, all running at 125%, which means the inputted amount of copper ore I need is 450. I've got to redo that, so 450 comes in. There are four sets of 3 smelters. They essentially go to a floor each, so this one goes to the 3rd floor, that one goes to the 2nd, that back left is the 1st, that back right is the 4th. Each one of these has been fed 112.5 ingots a minute. So 112.5 ingots divided by 6 gives you 18.75 in, making 37.5 out. So 30 point, what's that number again? 37.5 by 6 gives you 225 per floor, and we've got 4 of them. And then the 2nd floor and 3rd floor, they combine, and they collectively go to the 5th floor. And the 5th floor, each one is set to make wire with 75 inputs. So if you've got 225 times 2, because you've got 2 floors, divided by 6, 75 a minute coming in, 37.5 a minute going out, which gives you 225. So 450 divided by 6 gives you that 75, and then 6 times the 37.5 gives you 225 for the 5th floor. The 3rd and 4th go to the 6th floor, same thing. So the collective amount coming out of the 2 floors is 450. So that should be what we get. I'll click on that. Oh, I'm missing a bit there, I think, because that should be saying 450. Okay, I'm missing a couple of joined here. That's good to do the checks. There's one over there too. That should now have 225 coming out, and it does. That joins with that, which is the other 4, which means coming out there should be 450. And it goes into a smart splitter. Overflow goes to the right up to the storage. Normal outbound goes to the very bottom, which goes all the way through, all the way down, and pumps out there. And then I've done a bunch of repathing underneath. So the coal is coming out, sorry, the cable is coming out here, coming down to this floor, goes into immediately into a smart splitter, if I can get it to select it. Left is overflow, right and centre is outbound for cable. The one that's nearest to me then goes and connects itself to both the high-speed connectors and the crystal oscillators. So crystal oscillators are going to be there, and this will keep going through here, and we'll do a right-hand turn and go through the existing cable flow, which will be deleted, and join that one over there. So there's a bit of stuff I've got to reconnect when I get it up and running. So that's where that goes, and then the other one that comes out of there goes through the middle there and joins all the way through and goes to the right along the big main thoroughfare, which goes to the south factory for something. Automated wiring or something. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But anyway, that's where it's going. Done a bit of rerouting of rotors as well to make things a little bit easier. But, oh, what's that for? What's that for? Crystal oscillators. That's the way I was going to do this. Goes into there, and then all we do is delete that and have the conveyor belt go up a level. So how we're going to do this is we are going to, I think I've got everything. It's entirely possible I've missed something, but I'm pretty sure I've got everything. First thing we're going to do is we're going to basically stop the copper ore going into the current places. So we've got them coming out. Let me just check I've got this right. Alright, so they're coming out of there into there, and they join that, which is a merger. That then splits and goes up to here, which must be for... okay, that's making the high-speed connectors using the copper sheet part of it. Okay, so can't get rid of that. Now this bit over here, that should be 600 coming out, and then split this way, which actually goes into the current cable tower. And goes a very odd path, but that's where I'm pretty sure it's going. Oh my lord. And it comes up there. Okay. Very confusing pathing I did there. Not too sure. Must have been to get out of the way or something. So what we're going to do is, all we have to do is break that. $600 collectively. That needs a small amount. This should give us about 564 because there's an amount used in something else. Not too sure. So eventually, now that I've done that, the copper ore going into here will run out. They'll still have some ore in them, so they'll eventually stop producing. They'll eventually stop producing. Yeah, so let me get back to where I want to be. So that to that, split up there. Go along the back here. Along here. It then splits here and goes to yes, the AL limiters, because they need sheets, copper sheets. Yep, okay. Now they don't need that much. They need 37 plus times 2 basically. What's that, 75? Yep, 75. So if we go fly along here and bring up the efficiency checker hand thingy, it should say 75 required. Output required 75, yep. And here should say output required 450. It doesn't because nothing's powered up yet, but that's what it should be. Alright, so I think we've now got everything ready to go. So I think I've got all the power set up. I haven't turned it on yet, so we do that by joining that to that. That means all of these are now powered up. The whole 4 should be powered up. There's going to be a bunch of yellow in there. What I'm looking for is red. Red indicates either one or two things. Indicates that it's not got enough, it's not got a recipe, or it hasn't got power. I'm looking for, expecting a lot of yellow. That's looking good so far. So if we now bring up that efficiency hand thing, it should say 450 required. 450 required. Beautiful. Alright. Yeah, it does take a while for it to fluctuate through. But if we were to go to each cable floor, which is this one, that should say 450 in, 450 in required, which is good. Likewise, this one should stay the same. It does. So it's all going to be, is if I can get it to actually, eventually it'll take a while for it to all flow through. Okay, so you can see the first 4 on each, 2 on each side are basically saturated. This one's almost there, so you'll start to see that back up, back up. Now because it's a manifold, the splitters will do a, well, this has got 3 outputs in the first 5 splitters at least, so it'll go left, centre, right, left, centre, right in that sequence. And because you've then got, because they're first in, they'll get more options. There's only going 1 to the middle, which is obviously feeding the remaining 10 of them. So now we've got through, this is now saturated. So now we'll start to see this one build up. Because when it's saturated, more, if it's got a saturated output, it'll just go straight through. So see there's way more going through there. And this will now be in the 90s, nearly 90. And when you start to see this build up, and this one build up will be roughly the same, 94, 95. And there's that building up on that. And now you'll see more go through to the next set. Now these ones will be just getting enough and then just losing, not quite getting enough, so it needs that. But this is into the 10s, and then we see that'll go up. It'll go up slowly. Now you can, if you've got copper ore yourself, you can sort of feed them at advance and get them full before you start doing this. But so it'll take a while for the full. So the first 2, the front set of 6, 3 on each side, are fully saturated. The first one is feeding the 2nd floor, and this one's feeding the 3rd floor. So if we come up to the 2nd floor, which is this one, the count, that same one, so it's got the right amount there. If we put a logistics and we put a counter on there, that should in essence say around 112. It'll be very 8. It can't calculate to that exact number. So if we come up to the 4th floor, which is this one, that input is actually over here, and do the same thing. Takes a little few minutes for it to calculate it based on enough time to pass the calculator per minute rate. So we're looking for something around the 112.5, 112 and a half, so 110, 113, 114, that sort of thing. Again, got the same problem here with the manifold setup. The first couple will be okay, then the next will be gone, and then that. But because the build is not fully, there's 110, so it's pretty close. We come up to the 4th, which is that one. Let's see what this number's got. I'm expecting to be roughly the same, I suspect. Wait for it to calculate. 104, so it's a little bit under that one. Let's go back down to the bottom. So that's now into the 70s in the section, so that's going to catch up. Into the mid-80s now. Let's just have a look at look at the 2nd floor. Now see the first build is saturated, so they're going to be 100 input and full, which which means now more is going to go through to the middle output, which means these will start to catch up. Now these will always will flicker from white to yellow as they're running out of resources, because they won't ever quite get enough. Alright, so now you see the last set of smelters have saturated. So now we'll start to see that number slowly go up. Once you've got all the belts saturated and all the machines running 100%, then you'll start to see these get better and better. So that's that one. So let's put a counter on that one. So there, now it's down 112. So it will take a long time for these, the ones making the wire and therefore the ones making the cable above to fully saturate and be actually running at 100%. So while we're doing that, I'm going to let that flow through a bit. I need to go and check the output to see if... So there's our cable there. There'll be some in this in here. So I've actually got this joining this is the rotor overflow, and that's joining this. And this will actually be the central storage line. So I started doing a little bit of prep work for that. But I really want to check this. So I've got those two coming down there. I need to now check whether this is stopped in here getting a... It's still got cable coming into it, so we don't need to do anything with that. There's still cable coming out, and this is the cable that was going down there, so that's still got cable coming through. So it'll take probably a fair while for the whole previous setup to actually basically stop producing, outputting anything. Which is in here, so basically these are all empty. These original smelters. But I suspect they've still probably got some ingots in these things still making wire. So no more ingots are coming in. That's nearly finished. I had a slightly different setup here. These were 7, but I've made them 6 and just adjusted it a bit in terms of the numbers. There's 500 just sitting in the stack there. So if we get back up to the top, yeah, so there's still quite a few of them still to make. Oop. Which is fine. So that's you would take a while. How these are going. Let's go check that. That's only to the 30s, that's slowly getting there. These again are going to be fluctuating from 0 and 1. But you can see these are now into the 30s, whereas before they were in the sort of the low 10s. We'll see a similar thing happening here. First one's saturated. Second one into the mid 30s. think we'll probably see a very similar pattern. Yep, that one with low 20s, and that one's a bit different. That probably took a bit of time because they weren't quite getting enough from the other belts yet. Just going to check the varying smelters to see if we're fully saturated. Yeah, we are. Beautiful. So these will now, that'll eventually get to 100% efficiency. So they're all done. So got 111 there, 111 there, 111 there. And the very last one is getting... Oh wait a second, I missed a 4. No, I don't have a counter on this one. Counter on that one. 111, 111, 111. Oh, I suspect we'll probably get 111 from this last one. Calculate. Look at that, 111. So that's now low 30s. This might even be into the 40s now. Yeah, mid to high 40s. Mid to high 40s as well. Low 30s. So I've got so the two that were fed by the last set of 6 smelters are just taking a bit longer to sort of catch up. Just why you're getting some of those floors are not quite the same level yet. Got nearly 400 coming in. That's not going to be accurate. It should only be... No, it should be 450. It should be getting... Yep, that's not... It's getting there. And if we look at this one back here, that's now at 400. Now because it's not going anywhere at the output, it's all going into our setup here. See them in the last one. Yep. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop out for a bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just finish up the build of this tower. That'll give us a bit more time for everything else to start flying through, and we'll keep an eye on whether the other production tower eventually stops, and we'll finalise those other pathings. But we'll come back once in a little while and just see how it's all going. Alright, at the other production tower, as you can see, nothing's come out of it, so it's completely exhausted everything it's had in it. Which means we now need to quickly go through and check where. So that was one of the belts there, so I'll get rid of that. That's that one, so we'll get rid of that, do that, turn that around. And that's the high-speed connectors being fed. They had dropped a little bit, but probably because of the circuit boards, not because of the cable. We'll look at that later on. built these walls so I could figure out where the hell I was looking at, because I was getting very lost under here. So now we can get rid of this as well, because that was the other cable. Okay, so that's still got some cable coming in. Okay, that's a bit of a surprise. Okay. Checking that this, yep, is definitely finished. That will get cable to the south factory. That was actually getting ready for the computers, which are going to come out of that thing straight into there and down through there, so I've got to repath that, but that's for another day. Alright, see, that's just about finished. What's going on there? You know what, that's close enough, I'm just going to do this. There we go. That was quite a successful changeover. Okay, so that's the big run that goes down to... Just get rid of the remnants over here. Oh. What can I get rid of? Yeah, it's alright. Leave it there. Alright, so we've got an issue with the circuit boards. It's making them... Oh, it's plastic. Yeah, okay. I do need to get plastic sorted out, so that's alright. Let's go check everything this end. check what we've actually got up here. 442 coming out of there. And 435. So these are their saturated, as you can tell. They're halfway. And these will probably be teetering on the edge, that's why they're running at not quite 100. This will basically be, this one. So same thing, they're over 100, they're about halfway. And you start to see, if we come down to our floor here, the second row is now saturated. And this will now start to get a little bit higher. It will take a little while again, but it will get there. Actually running 100%, so it's just getting enough, perfectly getting enough. So that's probably a candidate to just give them, put 100 in its input. So let's go check if the others are like that. Yeah, it's running 100%. That probably N1 will never ever saturate because it just won't ever get enough to overload. That's right. And likewise, eventually these will when this saturates, which won't take too much longer. That's 447, 448. They're roughly at the same point. That's alright. So let's just have a quick look. So I don't actually have. If I put a, I don't think I've got enough. I'd need to put a counter there, and I won't have enough. Won't have enough room to do it. But that's where I want to put a counter to know how many was actually ultimately coming out. But right, well that's it. That was that went actually really well. That had the potential of me missing something. Not powering something up, not having the maths right, but it's all worked. It will take a bit longer to fully saturate out and get there, but that's basically it. So what I've done now is I've got to put the roof on, put the back stairs on, put the windows in, and that is done. So what I'm going to do that, wrap this up. This will be the end of episode 29. Come back at the end of episode 30 and we'll get these towers sorted out, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do after that, because I'm thinking it's probably back to that setup. I just don't know what I've got to do over there, so I was sort of distracting myself with this stuff. Actually, what I'll do in episode 30 is we'll dismantle the other setup, so we'll get rid of all that, and we'll basically finalise this area, this factory area. So dismantle that tower, and that tower. I do have a bunch of cable up in here, so we've actually got, let's get rid of that window. We've got a lot of cable in there to move, so I have to move that over to there. I'm not too sure how I'm going to do that easily. We'll figure that out, do that next episode. But until then, it's been episode 29 of Solar Factory. We've got the cable tower up and running, the new one. So, till the next one, thanks for watching and goodbye.